Hello, Yoel. How are you doing today?
I'm all good. Thank you so much for inviting me. Really appreciate that. Really humbled to be like interviewed. Really, thank you.
Well, it's really exciting to have you on the show. I really enjoy your show a lot. I was watching for a while yesterday, and you were really taking some players down in the bullet games, the really fast games. You seem like a
Yeah,
very strong player, which was fun to watch. And your emotion and everything during that was pretty cool. And I'm sure other people watching this have seen you before as well, and they're probably very excited, like myself, to learn more about you. Um,
thank you.
what age were you roughly when you started playing this wonderful game?
Wow. I say I began really small. I started playing with my family. My dad and my brother taught me when I was 5, 6 years old, probably. So I knew how to move the pieces, but my brother and my father weren't too strong. They're 1200 elo maximum. So I don't know, like they knew how to shuffle pieces. They knew a bit tactics, but nothing too much. And that was it. I mean, I knew a little bit how to play chess. But when I grew up, when I was 20 years old, I drove to Argentina for volunteering in a community there, in the Jewish community there. And there, one of the things we used to do is every Saturday night go to the street, to the main street of Buenos Aires, and give food to homeless, every homeless there is on the street we could find to give food. And there we've been walking, and me and a friend of mine, and we found a homeless with a chessboard prepared in front of him, and we just sat down and we played, and we probably played uh 2.5 hours for one game or something like that.
Jeez,
Um, yeah,
it's a
and
long game.
it was a long, really long game. And something happened to me and my friend back then, and both of us like gotten a little bit crazy and started playing chess like all the time. Started learning, started improving, tried to understand the game, and something really opened up chess in our mind in that moment. And that's how I really started learning and improving, and started playing over the board tournaments, and started to have a coach, and that's how
Wow.
I began improving.
So it sounds like you've had a
That
lot of opportunity to improve and had, you mentioned the coach helping you out as well. What were some of the resources, like maybe a book or something else that really you feel like took your chess journey on a different level or helped you get stronger?
Yeah, I'll say there is one book that blow my mind in many ways. Um, that's My System by Nimzovich, which is a
Yeah.
classic.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a big classic book. But that was the first time I started really to seeing and understanding strategy in chess. Strategy is something that, in many ways, it's kind of weird to people many times in chess, and people don't understand it. It looks weird. You talk about squares, strong squares, weak squares. It's not very a lot of time logic. There's a lot of logic obviously into it, but people don't understand, and that took me in the very language of Nimzovich, his very special language. He managed really to open up for me into it, and I really studied a lot from that book. And my style, in many ways, a little bit is similar in many ways to Nimzovich in that fashion, in the strategy fashion.
Yeah, it's a
That's
really special book you bring up. And one of the best things about the book that you mention is, as shared by other players I've talked to, it's one that you can actually grow with. So there's some books that come in at such a high level, it's extremely hard to engage with the book because it's maybe beyond where a player is at. But the My System book does a good job of kind of taking from this beginner noob, wondering about chess, into a deep understanding of chess, but over the chapters. So a wonderful recommendation by you. And I know so many other chess players and stuff and coaches as well have recommended that book. So that's a nice find. Do you have an additional one that you like as well, or
um yeah, wow. Actually, there was one Israeli one. So it's a book Israeli wrote. Israelis are very known educational on chess. The grandmasters are very they studied books. They're very well informed in chess. So there's one book, Israeli book. I don't think it's relevant really, because
okay?
it's not in English. But yeah, this is
You might
like really. really awesome book. The Nimzovich, my system. One of the things that I find is you can always really revisit it. That's how what you said. You always revisit it, and you always find new things you missed the last time that now that you see it in a different way, and they're enlightened. You enlightened by these ideas that you missed last time. It's like a book you can always come and to see new stuff. It's really brilliant.
And
Really recommended.
in a way, the book almost embodies the game then, because that's how I see chess. It's a game where you can look at it and feel like you have an understanding and feel like you know what's going on, but each time you play the game, there's an opportunity to learn something and something new. And it could be a new thing about pawn structures or end games or middle games. It's just such a rich, wonderful game. So it's really cool that a book is able to somehow capture so much of what's in the game and help a player, get those principles and patterns so that they can be a stronger player. When you played
Absolutely.
with your over the board chess, did you have any? You don't have to actually share the game, I guess, but do you have like a memory, I guess, with over the board chess? Something really fun that happened in a tournament? Um,
Oh, I have an immortal game. I have an immortal, my immortal game that happened in the over the board chess. I was a brilliant. I showed it once on stream, I think. It was an amazing sacrifice that I saw. I sacrificed two pieces, in like very weird fashion. Like it wasn't a weird fashion. It was a reasonable sacrifice, but it was on weird squares, like putting a rook near a pawn that can take it, and it doesn't seem like it's revealing an attack or something. It wasn't
huh.
very. It was a very uh, clever tactic, very deep tactic, and it worked. And I won the game, and it was like, yeah, it was like a deep tactic with that was my immortal. Happened to me like in my also my third tournament, so it was
Wow.
really cool, and it
Well,
was a classic game and an hour and a half. So
wow.
even cooler,
That's
yeah.
not even like for classical chess. That's not even that much time to come up with stuff with a deep combination like that. That's really cool. We'll have to share a link below this video with that game, and maybe in the future we could go over that game together. That'd be kind of a fun thing to analyze together and talk about some different lines and stuff. That sounds really exciting. I think, when I'm talking about chess with people, and especially because so many of us are playing blitz chess now, I get that question very often, like, well, what's the difference between a blitz game of chess and over the board chess? And that example you're
Mhm.
giving right there, that shows a big piece of it. The ability to take the extra time to calculate what appears to be a move that can't even be played. Like if you're playing blitz, you're not going to play a rook where a pawn can take it because you don't have the time to use your wonderful strong chess mind to solve that position. But in that over the
Uh,
board game, you solve it, and then you maybe don't even stop there. As you mentioned, you sack maybe even an additional piece to help, somehow break open the king, or create some square weaknesses that you can then pounce on. That sounds like a very
yeah.
educational and good game. And those games are hard, right? Because hard to find, I should say. I'm always looking for like an exciting, wonderful game of chess to share with someone to teach them the game. And what I find is a vast number of games, especially as the engine analysis is available, a pawn is getting one in the center or something of that nature. And with that one pawn, we're seeing a very systematic breakdown of the other side and winning with the one pawn advantage. But those games don't have the excitement that some of these other games, like the one you mentioned of your own, where it's like, oh my gosh, how did this player see this incredible move? Um,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
really
In
neat.
that way, I always find classical chess to be, let's say, the purest form of over the board, the purest form of chess, the purest form of understanding your own mind, your own weaknesses in chess as well. Is in classical chess. Is to see this is the purest chess there is. That's how I find it. At least I really love it.
Yeah, and another one that I thought I was going to fall in love with that's similar was going to be correspondence chess. Now, when I was first doing correspondence chess, which is where you kind of
Uh,
mail moves back and forth.
correspond. Yeah, yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
so like you send a move to your opponent, you wait a period of days, they send a move back. I thought that was going to be
Hmm.
a brilliant way to get better at chess, but then with the advent of engines and such, and things that are available now, I just feel like that particular format has been spoiled a bit in my mind. It's you always have to at some level wonder, is it that your opponent took the time and found these brilliant set of moves that are happening against you, or did they just flip on a switch and somehow a computer entity is somehow helping them? What do you think about
Yeah.
computers and chess? What's your take on what's happening with this?
So yeah, I find a lot of times that the appearance of obviously of engines in chess showed us a lot of new things in chess, obviously, and things we never seen before. But eventually, it made the game to become a little bit too much. Let's say a bit colder. The belief there is only one line that wins all the time, and there's a perfect sense of playing chess. When really, even if you don't play the best move by the engine, a lot of times, in a human fashion, everything can happen, and you can get much exciting and much interesting chess, um, as a human instead of as a computer playing chess. So it also gets a little bit in a different mind for people who less know chess to think that chess is something very squared, something that there is only one answer, and the people who know it are need to be the most thematic ones. When really, it's really not about it. To be really good chess player, you need mostly, and from like the biggest thing I think you need is a sense of creativity, of
Mm-hmm.
seeing the position, seeing the thing you can get from the position, have a vision of what your position wants to become, and that's very hard, and that requires a lot of creativity and almost in a sense of art in many ways. And that's what I believe w- computers a little bit took out of chess in
Yeah,
some ways.
totally agree. And one term I've started using that I find kind of funny is the word memorized loss. And what a memorized loss is to me is when a player studies with an engine and they find 14, 15 moves in an opening that they're like, this is how I play, and they're just making the engine move. And there's two ways this can happen. One way is I know the next move of my opening is X move, and they just play the move off rote memory because they're like, I know this is the right move. But they aren't always watching their opponent's pieces, and so their opponent might not be making the perfect response moves to those moves that they've memorized. And the different move that they make in a blitz game gives them an opportunity to win material, and they make their rote memory move only to lose. Or the other thing that can happen is they've memorized these moves, but they have no idea why they're being played. They don't understand about the squares they're supposed to control, or what their middle game initiative ideas are in terms of pawn breaks and such, and being used to dismantle the center. And because of that lack of knowledge, they literally play into a position that they have no clue on, and they've essentially given their opponent a huge advantage because they don't know how
Yeah.
to continue. I ran into some of this at first myself when I was trying to learn from engines. So, of course, when they first were coming out, I was like, oh, this is, as you were saying, maybe the truth in chess and the way to play chess. And what I found as someone who understands chess is often going down the road of the engine's moves, I entered this interesting situation where I was in a position that I knew nothing about, and I recognized that. I was like, I don't even know what to do here. It's cool that you're winning, engine, but I don't even know. There's so many pieces in contact with one another. There's such a rich amount of what can happen in this position that I'm not even sure which of these captures should be done first or at all. And for that reason, I went back to just blunder checking, which I think is one of the best ways to use engines. I think Gary Kasparov also
Yeah.
mentioned this. And have you done that much, like with your over the board games? Are you going back and analyzing those with an
Oh,
engine, or?
I believe the key thing I found to improve in chess is know your liabilities, know your weaknesses. Each and every one has their own weaknesses in chess, which also a lot of time I find, at least in chess, reflects some things in your personality as well. I'll give you my own example. Something that also I see in other people, but I can say it on my own is uh, a lot of time you get cocky in chess. You say, "Oh, this is the winning position." Well, that's it. And this is mostly the times when you lose.
Mm-hmm.
When you're, I always find in chess when your ego starts, you're learning finishes.
Yep.
So yeah, so that's for example something I found on myself is that I need always to be humble in the position. Don't ever feel like you are in a winning position in matters of your emotion. Leave it here. You know you're in a better position. Now solve it. Make it happen on the board. Don't bring your ego into the game.
That's such a
Because when you
wonderful.
bring
That's such a wonderful point you're bringing up. I've had so many people, and I tell them this all the time. I'm like, the positions where you feel like you're winning, the positions where you feel like you're winning, these are the positions that you're most likely to make a huge mistake. And it's
yes,
exactly what you're saying. You get in this like euphoric, happy state of you start saying things like, they can do nothing. I've got all the squares. I control everything. I am attacking their king. They're not attacking my king. And all of a sudden, through
Absolutely.
this complete dismissal of your opponent and their moves, you find that this clever move that they make, or this thing that you ignored because you're so happy about how great everything is for you, and now you're busted. And exactly what you said right there. It's oftentimes after the winning of a pawn, or actually, I would say right before. If you're thinking about capturing a piece, if you're thinking about winning a pawn, just ask those questions. What can my opponent do in response? And maybe you don't take the pawn on e5 and follow for like queen a4 check, winning the knight or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, it might not even be immediate, but oftentimes that material that's being given to you is at the expense of either your piece's time on the board or your chances to win. So that's such a great piece of information you give us. Do you have other
Absolutely.
maybe another example of a game you played or something where maybe you used time or some other chess thing that people could learn from that you'd like to share?
Ooh,
Where
let me say my bad example now.
okay,
I once lost an over the board game. I had a king and two connected passers against a king,
what?
and I was yeah, and there was increment. Okay, there was increment, five
No,
seconds, and
no.
and it was the thing was the game was extremely volatile. Okay, extremely volatile. I was winning, and
No.
then I got cocky, and then I was losing, and then I managed to bring a tactic and get into the winning end game of two pawns and a king. But everything happened
Oh
so
man.
fast, and my heart was pounding like crazy, and I got there. Like the two pawns were just about like queening, and his king was stopping it. But it's a stupid known thing how to make it happen. I mean, I know how to do it, but I was totally blind. I forgot everything, and I drew the game.
Yeah. Oh. And
That
it's
was
it's
that
funny
was
how
horrible.
oftentimes the most painful game isn't the win. It's exactly what you said. It's the draw in a completely winning position.
Oh,
And
that's
it's
so
like
horrible.
it happens. I had it happen to me the other day. The thing with me is that I was looking at my opponent's king. It was in the center of the board. It was one of the four central squares of the board, and I was like, I'm winning this rook and pawn endgame. My opponent had a pawn and rooks, and I had pawns and rooks. And they all of a sudden, Sacrificial Ninja, same guy, plays rook check right next to my king, and I realize if I don't take this rook, it takes my rook and I lose the game. And if I do take this rook, the king on the center of the board with pawns around it, and my rook where it's at, it will be a draw. So he found this beautiful draw. Now, of course, that's
Oh,
maybe not as bad as myself putting the king over the pawn, pinning him to the edge of the board, and getting the draw type of thing. But still, extremely painful. So I can totally sympathize and empathize with you there.
yeah.
And
What I'm trying to say is, it's my uh, always that's my example saying that don't worry, you will lose. You will do horrible things in chess, but the idea in chess is never stop. Even with all your problems, all your losses, all your horrible draws, bit by bit, you'll get better. Bit by
yep,
bit, you'll be calmer in competitions. You'll know how to handle your emotions, handle your mental state, and you'll manage to finish it off.
yep.
So that's an important thing.
And
Yeah.
it's neat too as you talk about this stuff, the ways that life imitates chess, right? These things where there's something in your own life where you have to overcome these obstacles. Maybe it's a subject matter. As a child, you're kind of weaker, maybe at math, science, whatever it is. But as you continue to apply yourself to it and just get little bits of knowledge towards that topic, then all of a sudden you get to a point where maybe it's a little bit easier for you and you're able to have that success with it and get your degree or whatever else you're trying to use that information to go off and do. And that's one of the things I enjoy about chess too. Do you see that as well? That chess somehow has helped you in life with situations where you've maybe overcome something with chess and then you're able to apply that to something else, or
I'll tell you something. Even I'll take your question into a next step as well. I'll tell you why. Cause I'm a musician. That's my profession. I'm you right now sitting in my recording studio. I'm music was my entire life, and I'm a composer. And let's say in matters of music, I'm pretty much a GM. So I always find that when you get into a very high level in a certain thing, you already overcome your own personal problems in it, like your own personal let's say weaknesses that you have in your personality in many ways. it doesn't show anymore in the music because I professionalized too much in it. So when I got in chess, the beautiful thing that I found that I really got intrigued at it was that I see all my weaknesses. I see it suddenly in chess, and that was really for me. I was very excited. Wow, I know what to work on. I know what can I make myself better. Now I know what is my problems in my. I don't want to say problems in my personality, but it was like what is my weaknesses. What are the things that can stop me one day from my goals, from my dreams? If it was in the matters of ego, for example, it happens a lot in chess. I find also with me. So suddenly I understood that. Suddenly I understood that, and that really applied to me in a lot of things in life. To know even when you get into a good position in life, don't get careless.
Mm-hmm.
Understand that you didn't get it and you won, and that's it. You need to still think about it, feel it through. Uh, Take your time with it, learn it. Patience, this word that we hear from since we're all like children. Patience is a very big thing, and understanding the value of patience and the strength that it has. With patience you can get into such really greatness if you really are patient. A lot of things that I still study when I play chess on myself, and I hope I will keep on studying a lot.
Yeah, and that's a great term for chess too. If you're working with someone or a student, the word patience, and it's for all of us, especially in this world of everything being so fast right now. Everything's in the palm of your hand. Anything you want to know, right in the palm of your hand, and with chess, that patience. And you showed some of this earlier in the stream when you talked about that over the board game, where you took the extra time to think about, okay, I can play a move that maybe seems more simple, but if I just look at the position, is there some way to use this rook? Is there some way to put it on a square that maybe doesn't even make sense to be able to put it on, but I'm going to think about that square and be patient. And by doing that, you're able to find this brilliant combination. And it's a hard thing, patience, but it really pays off when you apply yourself and just take that little bit of extra time. That's a great thing to share with us. Um, with your
Thank
music and
you.
such, if I was to watch your stream, do you ever play music on stream or sing to your viewers at all, or is that something you bring to
Uh,
it, or
Happened once, I think, that somebody asked me to play something on the piano or something, and
okay?
I did. I'm trying actually to engage it more in my streaming world. Obviously, we're playing a lot of music. It's part of the stream. It became really a part of the stream. Actually, the song requests people are getting in. People are having some brilliant songs and sometimes really really goofy ones as well.
Yeah.
And it's part of the stream and it's really fun. So absolutely, yeah, music is a big part, and I'm still trying to see how can I make it even a bigger part and engage it with the viewers in some way. Uh, so I'm still learning in that turf.
Well, I've got something I'm going to share with you. It's actually I'll share it below the video after the stream as well, and I just pasted it in your Discord so you can see. But one of my very good friends from when I was younger, he played chess with me a lot and also extremely musically inclined. And during this time of COVID, he recently made a video to celebrate the COVID experience. It's him singing, and I'll share that with you. And it was amazing to me to see how he took math and applied it to music because he was very strong at mathematics, and then he seemed to have a way to with his mind to really put those two together. And he can I don't know, it was really cool. But your music background is awesome, and I can definitely see where having that strong musical mind would actually help you out with chess and vice versa.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely, absolutely.
do,
I find it a lot.
do you ever do you ever take challenges from someone with music, like where maybe they give you a chord or some kind of like, I'm going to give you some notes and then can you make a song from this or something like that? Have you done any of
I
that kind of
had it.
stuff?
Yeah, I have it. I think I think I do have it still. I had it like a donation thing. If you donate like $3, you can challenge me and musically in whatever you want, and I can
Wow,
try it and I can make it happen. Yeah,
cool.
I have it. It still didn't happen though. I'm still waiting for that.
I absolutely love piano, so I mean I'm not going to make you play on during the interview today, but I would absolutely love to hear some of your piano sometime. It's
Thank you.
it's one of those
I
musical.
would love.
It's pianos and violins for me. Those are my two. Is that kind of like what music do you really enjoy? I see you got a guitar in the background. Like of the instruments, what's your favorite? I guess to listen to.
Yeah. So I'm actually working professionalized more in orchestral work. So I'm actually working on music for films, music for computer games,
Wow.
working with big orchestras like complex arrangements and orchestration stuff like that. That's something more I do. Also, obviously I play songs and stuff, and that's more for fun. But that's more the work I do is the classical world more, and more films. I really enjoy composing for films.
Well, that just sounds amazing. It's neat to meet someone like you that has these different talents. You know, you're a strong chess player, and it sounds like you're extremely inclined musically as well. And we have a lot to maybe enjoy from you in the future there. If you have a
Absolutely.
musical score that goes into a show or something you're working on, again, I would love to have you share that with me. I really like learning about stuff like that. It's a rare talent, to be able to make something for that. And I think many of us, when we watch a movie, we might think it's the imagery in the movie that makes us cry or have an emotional experience. But I think
Yeah,
also having that correct musical score behind it really changes, everything. So
absolutely.
it's just really cool.
I can give you even an example on that if you want.
Yeah.
Uh, you probably saw it when you were like back in the day. Lion King. It's a very famous movie,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So if you describe the movie in an emotion, what would you say it is?
I felt a
Is
lot of.
it a happy? Is it engaging action? What do you feel about the movie if you remember it a
I,
little bit?
I remember it being really sad. Like I remember
Yeah.
the sadness
Okay.
of the
Sadness,
father.
right?
Yeah, the sadness. Yeah.
The sadness. So it's very interesting that how a cartoon lion can make us sad. It's a little bit weird, right? It's a cartoon lion. Somebody drew up a lion. Does that make it make us sad? So actually, if you get into the music there is first brilliant and very bombastically sad, very like orchestra. The composer is Hans Zimmer, which is an amazing composer,
Oh, really?
and
I didn't know that.
yeah,
I love Hans Zimmer. I was playing one of his songs a while back. But yeah, he was in Inception, the Inception
yeah,
movie. Oh, that's
yeah.
such good music. Yeah, I did not know that. Cool.
Yeah, so his music is brilliant, brilliant in the movie, and that's what makes it sad. You get into the saddest moments, you have the most profound music there, and that's the strength of that movie. Is a lot of the strength of that movie come from the music, I
Yeah.
believe.
So
Yeah.
is that something you find yourself studying as well? Then, as you're maybe as you're watching a movie, you're noticing more of the music and thinking about what what music are they putting behind this? The movie starts. How does it? If it's a comedy, what kind of music? If it's a drama, what kind of music? And you're kind of putting those things together as to what you might want to do. Is that kind of part of what goes on as you watch a movie now, or?
Yeah, yeah, it's even more complex than that, I must say, because first, obviously, you need to transmit the emotion of a scene, but more than that, and that's actually the biggest composer. That's what they do in movies, is not only be functional to the scenes, but create another dimension in music. Means that music can has its own life inside of a movie. And I'll give you an example. Let's say we have a scene of a child. That's our hero. I'll make the music there, okay? And if I'll take that music and bring it back in the most like the climax of the movie, and I'll put this music back then, it will be very emotional because we remember it from the beginning. Even if we don't think about it, we know that music, it was there somewhere.
Hmm.
And now when it comes back to us, it really reflects inside of us, and it creates another dimension in the film that gives it a lot of depth a lot of times. So that's like it gets more than functional, it gets a lot artistic as well in music for film. So it's
Wow.
very interesting.
Yeah, that's really cool. It's nice to learn about this kind of stuff. It's stuff. Oftentimes I'm not processing, the separate pieces of a movie. I'm just seeing it all together. So not thinking about the video and what's going on there with the audio and what's going on there. And that's a neat point that you make about how the song. And we've had this, I think, where maybe we turn on a song and it maybe reminds us of a past loved one or something, and we have an emotional experience because of that. And as well with the movie, as you're mentioning. Now, one
Yeah.
interesting thing about you, you're saying that you're in. I think you're in Israel now, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
But the story you shared, you were Argentina. So how does the Argentinian chess player end up in Israel? What was the how did you end up where you're at now?
Yeah, so it's actually the opposite. Yeah, I went to Argentina for 3 months.
Okay,
I was always living in Israel.
I
My
see.
parents were Argentinian, and they're Orthodox Jews. So am I. And Israel for all Jews is a big dream, obviously. So they made what's called Aliyah, which means they came to Israel and came to live here, which is a big dream. And that's how I ended up here.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. I just thought for our viewers too, I think some of them are aware as well of where you're at now. And I was like putting it through in my head. I'm like, okay, those are pretty far apart. I'm from the U.S. I do struggle with geography a little bit, but I know Argentina and Israel, so I've got some idea of the great distance there. Um,
Yeah,
and I'm sure people like to joke about that with us, But anyway, really good
absolutely.
stuff. That's cool. So you've been playing chess for quite a while, over the board chess, and what um what other memories do you have with that? It's something I'd like to share a lot about. You mentioned the game that you had that was really good. Did you ever have an opponent do anything that was maybe annoying to you during a game? Like, I have some examples of this, but anything like that where you're with an opponent, they're just doing something that maybe it's legal to do in chess, but it's like really obnoxious. Ever have that?
I had a bad yeah, I had a little bit of a bad encounter. I had one game that we both were in bad time control, and he started playing with both hands, which is illegal. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, I mean, for him it's brilliant because then he can play much faster. He can win seconds on the clock very
Yeah.
easily. And
Right.
first thing, I can, in the second he does once this, I can go to the arbiter. I didn't go. I said, you
Okay.
can't do this. And I
Yeah.
kept on playing, but he kept on doing this.
Oh
And I
no.
called an arbiter. And when he came, he said he didn't do it. And we like,
Oh, of
he argued
course.
with me for 3 minutes
Of
that he didn't
course.
do it. And eventually I got like a minute more than him on the clock, and it ended up with a draw. But
Oh
whatever, he
man.
was like 300 points also higher than me. So whatever,
Oh, no
300 points
way.
higher, a draw, that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's funny because like you think about chess and you're like, well, how much could happen during these games? You know, how many weird things could happen? And I, oh, have you worked with kids at all, like Scholastic Chess? Maybe as a tournament director or helped out in that capacity ever? Have you done any of that
Oh,
kind of stuff?
no, no, but that's one of my dreams is actually to open a chess club.
Yeah,
That's one of them.
I don't usually share too much about myself during these interviews, but I will share one funny story. So I'm a tournament director for like young kids, and one of the things you get told when you're directing young kids in a tournament game is you can't affect the outcome of the game. So like if you see that a move can't be played, or you see that it's illegal, or maybe the whatever it is, you can't go over and say, hey, you're in check, or this problem exists. But one time I was observing a game, and I come over and the children are complaining about a position. They're like, he can't do what he's doing, and I'm looking at the board and I notice that both kings are in check. Okay, both kings are in check, and but again, I'm not supposed to say anything or affect the game. And this is one of my early times doing the directing. Okay, but both kings are in check,
Okay.
and so I'm talking with the kids and I go, can you guys show me like maybe before the most recent move, what was the position before the most recent move? And they kind of went. They were over a period of time because it's young kids. They're able to kind of go back and say, I think he moved this guy here. And I go, okay. I think we should just go back one move. So let's just go back one move and look at the board. And I had them look at it, and they thought it was check, and that was good. But it ended up being okay, right? So this is one
Yeah.
experience I had. And that was a safe one. Nothing bad happened of it. Another time, I influenced the game, and I didn't mean to. A kid was in check, and what happened with that one? Anyway, I guess I can just say it's really hard as a chess player to observe young children playing and see them in a position that's completely illegal, or they're moving into an illegal square, to not
Yeah.
somehow affect that. It's really weird. Like it wasn't what I expected, I guess, when I was directing it. And also, there's another caveat that if either child declares checkmate, if the other child that has checkmate declared on them agrees that it's checkmate, even if it is not checkmate, if they agree and they shake hands, they go, okay, I'm checkmated. That's the end of the game. So
Oh, I didn't
it's
know that. Is
yeah,
that true?
yeah. I saw it happen. So the kids, I mean, because again, it's up to the kid to understand the game well enough to play it and win. And I saw some.
Also in grown-ups,
No,
if
not
if I say checkmate and he
I don't
says
know.
okay,
I
it's
don't
a
want to get
checkmate.
involved in the grown-up thing. I don't know. I would hope as a grown-up you could see checkmate a little better than like young kids and
It's a
stuff.
new
But
trick we can try to do.
yeah, it was so confusing though. I'm like watching these kids shake hands. Like the king has a square, good game. I'm like, and I ask him, I go, you agree that it's yep, I agree. Okay, well, I mean, and then if some of the parents would get upset after that, but then they were just told maybe to work with a coach or spend some additional time with their kid, helping them understand that. But it was just a fun. Chess is just full of all of these, like, it's a very rich game. There's so much more to it than
Yeah.
just making moves.
And there's a lot of funny stuff also happening all the
Exactly.
time.
Yeah, and there's pairing disputes. Like maybe one player gets awarded the white pieces, and they think that they're due, the opposite side or vice versa. And they're like, I played every game as black. Shouldn't I be getting at least one game as white in a tournament? And I know software now is kind of maybe helping to do some of those pairings, but back before there was pairing software, I know that was a big one as well for our club. Can you think of any
Yeah.
other advice then? So we've talked a little bit today about being patient, looking for additional moves. You talked about the brilliancy you played in a game that helped you win it. What other advice would you have for aspiring chess players that are trying to get better at this challenging game?
Wow. Yeah. I would dare say, if you understand, if you manage, I mean, obviously at the beginning, tactics is very important to understand the engine of the game, because tactics is everything. Is he does this, I do that. That's very important. But to understand the deep secrets of the game is strategy. I feel strategy is the most amazing
Hmm.
thing. And I really and it's very elusive. I think, yeah, we said it when we talked about Nimzovich, but when you understand it, the entire game looks different, and you see things uh that other people, no matter how high tactically they're good, they won't see it a lot of times. So strategy is something that I encourage extremely of studying. I started studying strategy since I was very weak. I think from since I was like 1100, I started studying strategy, and I feel that it brought me a long way. And when I'm playing very tough opponents, FIDE masters, I give them very tough play, very tough time. I won already a candidate master,
Wow.
really at the beginning of my over the board games, because I played strategically, and it gave me gave it very good positions. So I really encourage that.
And to help out our viewers, like you say strategically, but for them, I know that could mean different things. Like they might wonder, like, is it a middle game, a long-term middle game plan where you knew like the pawn breaks to play? Was it the strategy based
Yeah,
on knowing squares you might fork a piece or win material? Like what, when you say strategic chess,
yeah.
can you help us elaborate on that a little bit?
Absolutely, yeah. It's a good question. It's a very good question. Yeah. So I mean, things that are not calculated necessarily. It means that yeah, pawn breaks, understanding pawn structures, weaknesses of your opponents, weaknesses of your own, understanding how to defend right in many ways. Prophylaxis is a big part of strategy, not allowing your opponent's plan to happen. Uh, Obviously, your own plans. So like, there's a lot of into it. Obviously, I mean the strength of your pieces. What is the best square for the knight? How to use two bishops in the best way. Um, Pawn structures, as we said, and rooks, open files, semi-open files. Um, how to maximize the strength of your position. That's most of the time is strategy.
Yeah, so it sounds you mentioned one word, prophylactics, and that's a good one to mention because you're literally when you apply that, you're thinking about what are my opponent's ideas, what does my opponent want to do, and if you're a very strong chess player, prophylactics can help you basically eliminate a lot of the opportunity for their pieces to be strong or threaten you, and,
Yeah,
and that way of playing chess alone can actually lead to the outcome going your way. Just being a really strong prophylactic player where you're not allowing that attacking player that needs the attack in a way for their psychological well-being. They need to be attacking you, and if they aren't finding those attacks, they can almost have a breakdown that has them losing the game before the pieces ever really come in contact with each other.
absolutely. I find actually prophylactic in that way against kind of a bit weaker opponents to be almost fatal in that way. A lot of times they play when you play a simple prophylactic move, they're starting to do really bad moves right away because they don't know
Yep.
what to do now. So it's even for weaker players, understanding prophylaxis can give you really great strength in positions in other times.
And then that kind of talks us through the whole, almost like a binding of different ideas, because you talked about patience earlier, and obviously your opponent, when they go after an initial idea and that idea gets stopped through your good play, when they don't look for a new idea, when they don't take the patience to look for a new idea, that's where we're seeing them really fall victim to this prophylactics. They're like, well, I had one idea in the position, that idea's gone. I guess I'll sack the rook for the knight or whatever it is to try to try to change something, hopefully, but without calculating it and with just doing it in response to frustration, maybe things go poorly. And we see this in life too. We talked about that as well, how chess and life imitate each other. So maybe someone's got a goal. I want to be, working this job or doing this thing, but some step along the way, they're told you need to learn biochemistry or whatever it is, and they're like, well, I don't really want to do biochemistry, and they allow that one thing to stop them from reaching that other goal. Maybe it was being a doctor or some other big goal that they had, but because of this one piece, it somehow slows them down. So again, the patience and these different things we're giving people, it's not just about this game that we're sharing today. It's not just about this wonderful game of chess. It's about improving your life and looking at maybe weaknesses that you have in life and trying to improve those weaknesses as well. So I just think
Yeah.
you're a fantastic person to interact with.
A lot of time, even making them strengths. That's the strongest. If you make your weakness your strength, you probably will win the game.
Exactly. And if
Really,
you make your
of
weak,
life. A lot of
yeah,
time.
exactly. Wow. What a powerful message. And I'm sure we'll get more of these as we watch your stream. You've been such a pleasure to talk to today. I've really enjoyed
Thank
learning about your musical abilities, your chess
I
play.
must say, I really enjoy your streams. You are extremely, extremely educational, and you know how to pass the chess in ways that I'm really baffled by, and that's really beautiful to see. And thank you so much for interviewing me as well. That's so much fun.
Yeah, and I
I really
noticed
have.
you took on a really challenging puzzle on your stream the other day, or puzzles, I should say. I haven't done as many puzzles on my stream, chess puzzles. I feel like I'm worried I'll get
Oh,
nervous. Like I do them.
solved it brilliantly. You solved it brilliantly. That was
It's just
amazing.
one game. It was just one game. But I'm just saying, like on my stream, I always get nervous in front of my viewers and stuff. And then obviously, when things don't go well for you, your viewers oftentimes call you out on it. So I recognize that when I'm solving chess puzzles, I am good at it. But it does take me a while sometimes. I could see my viewers being like, "Fortuna, it was right there. Why didn't you see the mate?" And I'm like, I don't know, guys. I was thinking about this other thing. I will say too that, and I'll ask you about this in a second. But my favorite chess puzzles are the ones that aren't about checkmate and don't start with check. It's the puzzles where you have lots of pieces you can move, and somehow a deeper understanding of chess understands that, well, this is the way it starts. It doesn't begin with check, it starts this way. It might end up being in checkmate, but it's not beginning that way. What about you? What kind of puzzles really excite you with chess?
Wow, that's a good one. That's a very good one. Yeah, those quiet moves that are deadly. This is really beautiful. In chess puzzles, wow, I really love a lot of them. I love combinations of ideas. I really like, and that's what I'm now getting a little bit more, like the highest level of tactics. A lot of times, not there's also the stupid level of tactics when it's really hard and it's like a weird move
Yeah.
I don't understand. It's 30 moves ahead. You need to see those
Uh-huh.
I don't like, but
Right.
the ones that are combinations of ideas, those are 2500 rated tactics. Those I love. I really love.
Cool.
Um, yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask that last question before I get you off here. I've enjoyed so much talking with you and everything, and learning about you. And I just want our viewers to have as much to take from this as possible, and take into their own games, take into their over-the-board chess. It excites me to see the viewers growing, and I've seen it. I'm sure on your stream too. People are getting better around you. The players that are challenging you. Do you have viewers that really come at you with some tough chess and stuff? You find that, or um,
Oh yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. We got some people who got really better as well, and that was so beautiful to watch. Beautiful to watch. Really, it's humbling to see that. It's really also very nice to see that the community that grows. It's really humbling in many ways.
yeah. I can't.
Just beautiful.
Every time I'm on Twitch, I just cannot believe the community we've built. The strength of the different streamers that are on there, the complementary nature of the streams. If I go over to another stream like your own, I feel very welcomed there, and vice versa. It's a very special thing we think that we're building, and I hope to have more people get to enjoy this experience with us, whether they're streaming or playing. I just think it's such a great thing, and I've really enjoyed you giving this time today. I know with our schedules being so different, it was kind of difficult to find a good time for us both to meet. We're 7 hours apart for those of you that are watching, so it's I think
Yeah.
it's 11:03 a.m., 11:03 in the morning for me, and I believe it's
And 6 o'clock.
yeah,
Yeah.
6 o'clock in the evening for
PM.
Yoelrubs over here. So go ahead and give that channel a follow. It's Yoelrubs. It's right here on the screen. It's been there the whole time. You've been able to watch him playing down below here on this shared screen of his stream just so you guys can get an idea of what that looks like. Notice how brilliant his layout is and how nice and clear the board is. Nothing, he's, really does a great job of just sharing the important content there. You can see the players, their ratings, the time on the board. Just such a fantastic way of sharing this challenging game. And of course, as he's mentioned, he's going to be applying the prophylactics chess and all these other ideas in these games. So you have a lot to learn from him. And
Yeah,
I'm
we'll
sure,
have lessons with IMs every other week
wow,
uh, on stream. Yeah,
that's really
everybody's
cool.
welcome.
That's really cool. I'll have to check that out. That sounds like a wonderful thing to share. I just want to say thank you again so much for taking the time today to come visit and
Thank you.
do this interview. I look forward to working with you more in the future and to future chess games. We haven't played our first game yet, have we? So,
Oh, we didn't. You're right.
so we
We need to do that. We have to do that.
maybe I'll stop
Wow.
by your stream soon. We can get that first game in or something. That'd be fun. But really a pleasure,
Yay.
Yoel. I hope you have a great day and
Thank you so much. Thank you. I had a lot of fun. Thank
yeah,
you.
I wish you all the best and try to stay healthy out there. I know obviously there's some health things going on. Please check out my friend's video that I shared with you as well, and I'll put that below the Corona one. And
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
if you can
Thank
find
you.
that, if you can find a link or somehow share that game, the over the board game that you
Oh,
played, that'd be really
I'll
good to
send.
share too. So, all right, well,
Absolutely.
you take care and thank you so much. Have a good
Thank
day,
you so
Yoel,
much.
and goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
We'll see you next
Have a good
time.
day.
Have a good day.